Hello everyone and welcome back to another Be Connected session with your host, me, Emily. Today we're going to be looking at understanding your data plan and what data is. We're also going to cover Wi-Fi and different networks that you can access with your smart device or any smart device that can connect to the internet. So I'm Emily, I'm a Customer Experience Officer at the Marion Library. You'll find me at the Hallett Cove Library most days. When we open again, please come in and say hello. Alrighty, so let's get started. So I'll cover what we're going to look at today. We're going to get started on the Be Connected website, which is where I get all my information, how I build up these talks. We're going to look at what data is and kind of get into the nitty gritty. I'm going to start talking about binary. I'll make it as easy as possible, but when researching this, I went down a real rabbit hole. We're also going to look at home networks versus mobile networks and what the differences are if you're confused. And then we're going to look at what Wi-Fi is, that lucrative Wi-Fi, what is it? And then we'll get to question time at the end. So at any point during this, please pop in questions or things in chat you might be wanting to know more about. And if I'm moving too quickly, please let me know and I'll run back and cover it again. All right, let's jump into Be Connected. So once again, Be Connected, a brilliant website that I recommend to just about anyone that can get access to a computer, and even those who can't, we can get them the PDFs that are printed off from here. They have a broad range of topics. I'll have a look at the website in a tick. Self-paced, easy to use, and you can sign up to keep track of how far you've traveled through. So let me change my screen one more time. You think I'd have gotten used to how to get through this, but no. Always takes a bit of extra time. So Be Connected, brilliant website for all. If you go into the topic library here, which we've got on another tab, and if you were to scroll down, you can have a look at just about anything. So it starts off with the essentials, absolute basics, what is a smartphone, what is a computer, how to use keyboards, and then going all the way through into internet safety, which we've covered before. So do go back and check out my videos. We've popped them on our City of Marion YouTube page. So we've got some extra content you can follow up there if you're interested. But today we're going to be looking at data and Wi-Fi mobile networks. So anything I don't cover here today will be listed on the website here, and it goes very in depth, but it's still really easily accessible for everybody, and it's got great pictures, which I deeply appreciate. So jump back into the slideshow. So we've had a look at Be Connected. Let's run through to what data is. Let's look at the nitty gritty. So what is data? So it's the unit that we measure our internet use by. I'll get really into what makes up internet and data and how it runs through wires. But everything you do on the internet will use up data, and your data allowance is given to you by your internet provider. So you have a limited amount of internet to use per month for most plans. You may have a prepaid set up. You might have a monthly payment that you automatically top up every month. But anytime you're accessing the internet, you're always going to be using data. Even if it's free Wi-Fi somewhere, it's still going to be data used, though it's not deducted off your account if it's, say, at the library where you've got free Wi-Fi. So let's have a look at data, how it's measured. Here we go. So we've got bytes, kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes, and terabytes. Do not be alarmed if this looks like too much. It really is a lot to look at. I've tried to sort of represent it here in a nice pyramid shape that shows bytes being the smallest and terabytes being the largest. There are even larger measures of data size, but we're not going to go into that because it sort of becomes irrelevant to us. It's just so big. A terabyte, for example, at the bottom, we're not going to talk about much. Terabytes are really talked about in terms of storage these days. You won't find a phone. I don't think you can find a phone with a terabyte of information. I don't know. But you can certainly buy hard drives that can store an incredible amount of information. You'd have a hard time filling a terabyte, just for general use, of course. If you're putting on videos and photos and things like that, a terabyte is more than enough. Otherwise, you're going to be getting into something like 250 gigabytes or 500 gigabytes is enough for the average person to use. So coming back to networks, and online internet access, what we're looking at is data measured in bytes. So let's go through what is a byte to start with. Why is they all measured in this weird format with a BYTE when a bit is a BITE? So 1 byte equals 8 bits, and then 1 bit is a single binary digit, either a 1 or a 0, which makes up all information that computers work through. Binary code, you can see a line of code here, which, if you're interested, spells a capital B. Yep. I think there are 255 separate lines of 8-digit code that can spell out every letter, symbol, and number that a computer would need to build up an image, a file, whatever you're accessing. It's a lot to consider, and I really went down a rabbit hole with this one when I was researching it. I went, okay, that's far too much information to take in. So I've sort of broken it down here. What we're looking at is the size of information that you can get access to from your internet provider. So we're looking at mostly kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes. Kilobytes are very small these days, so we'll look at another graph coming up soon that'll sort of look at the sizing charts and what a kilobyte looks like. Is it an email? Is it a website? Does that build up 1 kilobyte of information? But we're going to mostly look at megabytes and gigabytes in terms of internet usage that's going to be sent to you from your internet provider. So keep this in mind. We've got a nice hierarchy. Just consider megabytes and gigabytes for the most part. Megabytes being smaller, gigabytes being larger in size. Well, higher capacity. It's not going to be easy, but that's the hard part. Let's skim through and do some easy stuff now. So everything online uses data, and there's some things that require more data in order to access them. So if you have a look here, we've got 10 gigabytes can equate to all of these separate things underneath. So we've got 2,650 songs. If you're interested, that equates to approximately 10 gigabytes. So you can tell that movies are going to be the largest thing here, the smallest being emails or just general browsing on the internet. Yeah, so let's continue. So I've got a nice color-coded graph here that I've built up. I'm very proud of. So how much data are we looking at, and what uses a lot of data? This is important to know when considering your own data plan and your own data usage for the month, and what you think would suit you best. Large households that use a lot of data, so people who are streaming Netflix, films, downloading high-res photos, or downloading games, they're going to want the largest size of internet plan. So that uses gigabytes of data at that point. So one film would weigh up to a gigabyte or so. I'd have to check that again, but it's up in the gigabyte range. Moving down, you go to music, internet radio, and ebooks. Going down to medium data usage, being megabytes, symbolized by the MB. And then the smallest are just emails and websites, which only spend kilobytes of information, so kilobytes of data. Okay, please pop in any questions if you have any. Again, it is a lot to consider, and I might be running through it a bit quickly. But just remember, gigabyte, megabyte, kilobyte. So big, medium, small. So these are some examples. I don't know how up-to-date these are. I just picked this off the Be Connected website, and this might have been made a little while ago. But generally a small internet plan for a mobile device, so your phone plan. Again, your phone and then your home internet is going to be separate. The mobile internet plan is going to have a lot less on it because you really don't need to be streaming films on your phone that often. You might be out and about and looking at Google Maps, jumping on the internet, maybe doing some online purchasing, or just generally trawling through Facebook or something like that. You're not going to need a lot of information, a lot of data to get through that. So that's why you're offered such much smaller gigabyte values with internet plans, mobile internet. And then we go into home internet plans, which are going to cost you a lot more, but you do get far more data involved with that one. So home internet does need to be a lot bigger. You're using it. I use mine every day. I'm using it right now to get onto this webinar, and it'll give you access to your Wi-Fi connection. So even though you may not be using your home computer that is directly plugged into the internet, if you've got an Ethernet cord, it might be connected via Wi-Fi, which we'll talk about later. even though you've got just that computer set up, any other device that's connected by Wi-Fi is going to use your home internet data. So keep that in mind. If you're going to someone else's house, of course, and you're using their Wi-Fi, you're not going to be paying for it because you're accessing their internet that they're paying for free. So you're getting it for free. Okay, let's move on. Again, if I'm being too going through this too rapidly, please let me know. So home internet, so home networks and mobile networks. Let's go a bit deeper into the differences and what we can look at there. Oh, there's no transition. Oh, well. Home networks. So these are the cable connection to your home that you have connected to with your telco, your telephone company. Yep, so it runs through the telephone company, and they'll supply a modem or a router. They're generally called routers these days. I just know them as modems. But you'll connect through your modem or router and get access to the internet that way. We currently are, I think almost everyone at this point, I'm not sure how long until it's totally finished, but the NBN's connecting up, meaning that including your internet as well as your phone connection will be running through the internet. So your telco would have already, actually no, the NBN just comes and does it for you. And then you ring up your telco to connect it up. So that's what's happening here, is that with your home network, you've been given a router, and that's how you're accessing the internet. You're essentially creating a little hub of internet that you can access wirelessly or with an Ethernet cable, as in the little diagram here on the left-hand side, the little blue plug. Again, I've got the rubbish bin going by. This happened last week. I'm sure you can't hear it, but I can hear it. So just in case, I've got the rubbish bin going by. So that's the home networks. Does anyone have any extra? Oh, you can't hear it? Beautiful. Thank you, Danielle. Please pop in any extra questions if you'd like to know a little bit more about each of these, if I'm, again, skimming too quickly. But let's look into mobile networks. So the network for mobiles is made up by a series of mobile phone towers. You can see ours in the Adelaide Hills. I'm pointing this way because that's the way the hills are. And those are I think they're Telstra-owned telephone towers that can send out wireless information. And you get them blotted around each neighborhood. I don't know how far the connection is. I've been told it's a few kilometers. So I imagine there has to be a tower at each point along those parts so you can get access to them. And your mobile network, you'll be paying it directly to, again, your telephone company, and they're giving you access to a limited amount of internet access before they start charging you more. In some cases, if you do go over your internet allowance, with prepaid mobiles, I know because I have that sort of plan, your internet just sort of cuts off. You can still get calls and text messages because what you're using is a separate payment where used to be the case where you would pay for your how many phone calls you'd like or how many text messages you wanted to send. You get a limited amount of that. But these days, it's almost always going to be unlimited calls and texts. And what you're actually paying for is your data usage. So once you go over your data with the prepaid plan, it's just going to totally cut off, and then you won't be able to get access to Facebook or your banking and things like that. And you'll have to jump onto a Wi-Fi network elsewhere. Or you could always do a top-up, of course. They love asking for top-ups. Can we have some extra money so you can get the internet again? And of course, they're going to offer that quite freely because, of course, that's what they want. And I mean, if you're in a tight spot, you're also going to want that as well. If you're out in Whoop Whoop, you're going to need an internet connection or be near a phone tower at least. If you don't have prepaid, your internet will just generally slow down. It'll get to the point where you can load websites and web pages still, but things like large photos, your Facebook feed and movies and Netflix just aren't going to load at all. And at that point, again, they're going to ask, would you like a top up? Would you like a bit more internet for a bit more money? So depending on your preference, that's totally up to you. Again, consider your usage. You might want to upgrade to a larger package where they're giving you more data for a different price. Keep in mind that if you're wanting to downgrade, they might actually charge you a fee for that, but upgrading doesn't cost a thing because why would they charge you for paying more? Another thing to look at here with mobile networks is the 4G and 5G connections. We've all moved off of 3G. I'm not sure if 3G is still flowing, but it's currently, people are sitting at 4G and people are getting excited about 5G. 5G just means the 4G just means the fourth generation of mobile network. And they're just trying to make it faster and faster, the more they're implementing new technologies. The newest thing is 5G, which is the fastest. There are a few, not problems, but caveats that come with it. Depending on the frequency, so a lower frequency is going to travel, I've got my science in my head here. It's just a change in frequency. So with 5G, it's a very high frequency. It can travel very far distances, but it has a problem with traveling through things. So if you were in your home and you wanted to connect to your mobile network, you turn on your 4G or your mobile, and you'd be able to connect to one of the internet towers out in the hills or in your area, whatever they've got. But with 5, and it'll travel through walls and things like that, and trees and cars, whatever you've got around. But 5G is a different type of frequency where it is incredibly quick. It's the quickest we've ever had, but it has a hard time finding your phone when it's such a high frequency, which is just how it gets you information as quick as it can. So there's some hiccups there. People have tested it where they've been in their own room, like they can line of sight with a tower, and they've moved just beyond the window behind a wall, and then it stopped working or slowed down incredibly, like back to 4G point. So there's some interesting things to work through there, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they end up working out those kinks. They might have already, I've not checked recently, so it's something to look forward to. But consider 5th and 4th generation mobile networks are going to be faster than your home Wi-Fi. So if you're ever really wanting to watch a video and your Wi-Fi is just too slow, which mine often is during peak hour time, which is like 7 o'clock to like 8, 9 o'clock at night, my Wi-Fi drops down to quite a low speed because everyone's using it. We're all using up the bandwidth. But with your mobile access, you're going to be getting your internet a lot quicker. So it just depends. Do you mind using your mobile data, which there is a very small amount of, or your home data, which you're going to have a lot more of to access? So just that difference is what makes it between the home network and the mobile network. Let's look at Wi-Fi. Always exciting, sometimes confusing, but if we consider Wi-Fi just to be radio waves like any other, that's kind of the easiest way to explain it. So let's have a look at what Wi-Fi is and how we connect to it. So what is Wi-Fi? A wireless way to connect to your internet. If you're interested, I was looking up the origins of the word Wi-Fi. It's totally lost all its meaning. People just say Wi-Fi and that's what it is, but it used to be a pun. It used to be a pun for, so it used to be high fidelity. High fidelity is hi-fi, and the people who made it were clever enough to say, wireless fidelity Wi-Fi. It doesn't have much of a meaning, but that's the origin if you're interested. Instead of high fidelity, it's doing Wi-Fi, wireless fidelity, which I thought was a cute little tidbit. Totally useless information, but you can use it. Danielle's asking, are the Gs getting higher and higher frequencies? Yes, generally. To make things faster, they're going to be shrinking those wavelengths. So they're not going to be large, loopy ones like this. They're trying to get them to very short wavelengths. So yes, they're going to get smaller and smaller. But again, it depends on what kind of connecting source your mobile has or any smart devices have. So the 5G technology might be a little advanced for some people's older phones. So you don't have to switch over to 5G. And I don't know if we've got any 5G modem routers attached to any of our telephone poles in Adelaide yet. I think there's one in the city that they're testing, but I don't know if we've implemented a whole bunch. I think it'll end up being council initiative that has to be taken over, because it'll be like several boxes on the street sort of thing. It'll be quite interesting to see how they end up doing it, because it is such a short frequency, and it'll be hard to get to everyone. So it could be like you might have like a popular cafe that has a 5G hotspot, that everyone can come and crowd around. So I'd love to see that when everything's back open and we can go to cafes again. So back to Wi-Fi. They can connect to any smart device, and I'll talk about what makes a device smart. And it allows for more than one person to connect to the internet at the same time, which is brilliant. So with your Ethernet cable, most up-to-date tech doesn't really accommodate an Ethernet cable anymore. Looking at my laptop over there, it doesn't have an Ethernet cable available to plug in. An Ethernet cable would just let one device, that plugged in device, access the internet. But however, Wi-Fi is the thing that will connect many devices at once, which is why it's so brilliant. And I always recommend using Wi-Fi. I mean, can't recommend what everyone uses anyway. But yeah, that's what it is. I've got a little graphic here that explains the distancing between a Wi-Fi router and your device and what it'll look like on your screen when that happens. So 10 meters away from a modem, you're going to have a very strong connection. It's going to have all 4 bars full. But if you're 30 meters away, or if you're blocked by like a double bricked house or large mirrors, which is something I looked up, a large mirror can block your wireless Wi-Fi signal, and even large aquariums. That was in the list. So apparently a large body of water, you've got a very big tank. That's one way that wireless Wi-Fi can't get through. But when it does start to struggle, you're going to see fewer and fewer bars lit up. And that'll tell you, oh, you might want to move a bit closer and we can speed up your internet again. And yes, your Wi-Fi signals are sent through your home router. And I think we're going to look at smart devices now. So let's move on there. Excellent. So what devices use Wi-Fi? So any device with a Wi-Fi transmitter and receiver. I don't think you can see them. I was going to show you on my phone here. There is a very small sort of antenna that's built into the phone itself. Oh, it's almost invisible. On the very top of my phone here, there is a separate sort of lip of, it's not even textured, but it has this sort of, hard to say, like almost a line of an antenna traveling around it. So this is how your mobile phone accesses different connections. So it accesses mobile as well as Wi-Fi connections. It's got its own antenna. That's kind of why phones still need to be kind of take up space, because they've got to fill that antenna so they can catch the waves. Just thought that was neat. So any device with a Wi-Fi transmitter and receiver, so any smart device. So a smart device is something that has the capability to connect to other networks. That's all that's all that smart means. So if you're interested, that's what it is. These days, all laptops and mobiles are going to have that connection. You're not expected to have an Ethernet cable anymore. It's almost exclusively going to be wireless connections. Some things like gaming laptops, where people are looking to directly stream from the internet a very large amount of information. So video games function at a higher level than even streaming movies. People might want to plug in a physical cable at that point because it is reliable and quick. It's not going to drop out because it's physically connected, whereas a Wi-Fi signal can tend to wane depending on, again, the time of day, who's using the internet with you at the time. So if someone else in your house is watching a film and you're looking to stream some extreme gaming content, your stream is going to slow right down, and it's going to be harder for things to, for graphics to render and turn up on your screen. So other than things like gaming laptops, you're really not going to be seeing a lot of devices or computers that still require an Ethernet cable. They're going to just have the, just drawing out the line of my computer, they're going to have a Wi-Fi or mobile connection. Some things like iPads you can buy with a mobile connection, so they'd have an inbuilt SIM card slot. So they could do more than just connect to Wi-Fi. They can also wander around and be just like a mobile phone. And access 4G or 5G networks. Smart TVs, so most TVs you can buy these days come with internet access or a Wi-Fi connection to connect with your internet. That way you can stream things like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Stan, Canopy. Canopy, the library's video streaming service, look into it. I'll explain it later if you're interested. things like that are going to be able to access the internet. And then some home appliances. So things like, what are they called? Google Nest and Alexa. I forget the other names, unfortunately, but all those devices that you set up in your home and you can actively speak out their name and they'll listen to you and respond to your question with an internet search or something similar to that. Hey Google, that's it. Yeah, thank you, Danielle. Hey Google. Oh, I'm sorry, I hope I didn't set anyone else's home device off by saying it too loudly. And then some home appliances as well. So things like fridges these days can come with an internet connection because they're looking to monitor how things in your fridge are doing, which I think is just wild. I mean, it's very cool, but I don't know, is that super necessary? I guess if you're looking after a lot of frozen food and you're not wanting it to go off, I suppose that's good. But it can keep up, it can let you know when things are going off or how long something's been in your fridge. Of course, you'll tell it as you're putting it in what it is. Or it can tell you if you've got any ice left, things like that, which I just think is the coolest thing. So really, internet connection is everywhere. It's just a matter of knowing where to find it. Okay. Do we have any questions? We've really blazed through that one today. Only had a quick session. I think I'm making up for my my extremely long session with Google last time. I took a big chunk out of everyone's day, I think. So. So, do we have any questions? Anything wild and off the wall? I don't mind if it's totally out of the blue. I'm happy to answer anything. So, or you can just chat. That's fine by me as well. I'm just going to pause my video while I don't know if I can pause it actually. Pause recording. I'll pause my video and we'll wait for some questions. Thanks. Okay, we have some questions. Beautiful. So we've got one, a nice comment from Danielle, just saying it's nice to clarify on things that she wasn't sure about. And you can buy a smart TV with much greater confidence. That is great. Yes. Smart TVs are not scary. You just want to limit how much internet access they have, which generally, if they're running in the background, they're using almost nothing. If you've set them to record, I guess you can't record Netflix shows, that's not it. Generally, if you're actively streaming something, that's where it's going to be using your internet access, your internet usage, your data. We've got a question from Sue. She's just asking, when you use Spotify, does it use lots of gigabytes and etc.? Lots of data. Yes, so with that one, Spotify is nice because you can jump between using your data and using Wi-Fi. You can't actually download the songs from Spotify onto your own device and save them, but what you can do is download them within the Spotify app and have them there. So what I've done with a few of my favorite playlists is I like to go for walks or bike rides with them. So instead of streaming through my own mobile data using my 4G data and using all that up, I'll stream it at home. So you can click, I might even open it here for you on my phone. You can click download, and while you're accessing your Wi-Fi, it'll use your Wi-Fi usage to download off of them. And then each time we'll do Phantom of the Opera. I listen to it very often. I love Phantom of the Opera. Recently had it streamed online for free, which I watched the 25th anniversary performance, just if you're interested. But what I've done, I've hit download, this little green button. So it might be, again, hard to see. I might even switch back to my own screen. Let's do that. Let's do stop share. Oh, it's my big face again. So what I've done here, I've got my Spotify page open. I found the album I want to download and listen to later on. So over here, I'll turn it off again. You'll see a download option at the top here, and you'll tap download. And you can do this on your wireless, so on your Wi-Fi. I keep saying wireless, on your own Wi-Fi at home, and that's going to use far less information. Why is that flashing? Interesting. And you can see they've got these nice green little download arrows now. So as I scroll through, they should all be done. It's a long album. Yeah. So all of these with the green arrow can now be listened to offline and won't be using your data. So they're essentially saved to the Spotify app at this point. So yeah, okay. I think that cleared it up for Sue, so that's great. Beautiful. Oh, Paula also watched the Phantom 25th anniversary. It was so good. I loved it so much. I could talk about that all day, but it's not the time for that. Or is it? Or can we talk about that now? Yeah, so again, so don't worry about your data going over if you do it that way. But I will let you know that music streaming is up there with music film streaming. So it is going to use a lot of data over time, but it's not nearly as bad as watching a bunch of Netflix. So say if you want to listen to a few albums, maybe just skip that Netflix episode and it'll balance out if you're interested. Not a problem. Okay, well, I've had a pleasure answering a couple of questions there. I won't keep you any longer, so unless there's anything that anyone's got really niggling at them and really wants to ask, I will bid you all adieu for this day. We'll see you next. Oh, I haven't even told you where you can find more things and connect with us. Let me do that now. Okay, share screen. Here we go. How could I have left without letting you know where you could find more? Stay connected with us. So during this time where you can't come into the library and see us, you're absolutely welcome to jump online and find us that way. So the main place that I recommend jumping onto first is our Facebook page. If you've signed up on Facebook, everything there is up to date. We've got a chat you can talk with. The lovely Paula runs that one. And you can always say hello. Our Instagram is the next best. If you're into Instagram as well, you can follow us there. We've got our newly updated What's On page at the City of Marion Council website. So just click through venues, libraries, What's On, and you'll see what we've got going on. There's even a Be Connected page there now, and we've got a list of past webinars that we've recorded, upcoming stuff, as well as digital mentoring sessions, which we've started running. And I believe the lovely Edith is here, who did the first session with me on Tuesday. So thank you, Edith, for joining me with that one. With those digital mentoring sessions, you just get 45 minutes to chat with me, either on the phone or through Zoom, if that's what you prefer. And we can chat about just about anything. We've got a list on our website of what we mostly provide. It generally is Be Connected content, so things that you can find on Be Connected website. But I am open to more ideas. There are certain things I wouldn't know how to do, but I'll let you know at the time if that's something or something I can't do. Another place to find us is on our library loop. We just popped a new one out, I believe, today. And that one's been beautiful and looks great. And we keep you up to date with all of our upcoming events and what's happening, but not flooding your inbox so much that you get tired of us. And of course, if you're having trouble getting online or just want to chat, please call us on 83756755 and we'll be happy to talk with you. All right, that's it. We're done. So thank you all again for joining me again today. Not a problem, guys. Getting lots of thank yous. Thank you, everyone. You've all been wonderful. Alrighty, I will leave us there. So everyone have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.